All right, re-rolling. This is Freedom Phil, like to describe. Let's get into it. And I just got to throw this out there. I've always got a lot of pushback from people. Like when I lived in the woods in my early 20s, I had all these people, were giving me shit about that. And then when I did trucking, I was told, oh, you're not going to make any money trucking. When I was moving garbage for a living and living in a van, paying off my house in record time while most temporaries or basically hadn't even bought a place, I was told I was doing it wrong. I think most people, even if they're failing, everybody failing together just makes somehow it makes sense. If we're all doing the same stupid shit, if we're all on the plantation, somehow it's not slavery. And it's like inner peace must come with a Gucci bag. I don't know how to put this, but like I see this on a regular basis where what I do seems radical to a lot of people to the point where when I say I can live off less than $200 a month and I'm happy. They can't comprehend that. They cannot fathom that. So I say $200 to $300 a month, and they're like, well, that's impossible. Because they think from a lens of basically just like, well, you must have this, you must do that. And if you're not doing this, what type of life are you living? Well, if you're happy, what does it matter? I've met hitchhikers that lived off like $100 a month that traveled the whole country from one sea to shining sea, that had seen things that even I haven't seen. Like I traveled driving truck all over the country. I've seen so many beautiful places, but they've seen even more than I have. And they've had the level of life experience that's multiple lives of life experience. I've met people that are craftsmen, sailors, fishermen, farmers that have they've really enjoyed life. And yet, if you look at most people, what we value is basically, well, what stuff do you own? What things do you have? What is the zip code? Where's your house? What is the vehicle you drive? And it's funny when I go to food banks and I see people with brand new cars at a food bank. Sometimes I'll be waiting for the food bank line to get a little shorter because I don't know, it's been a long day. I just bought some new Crocs, and by the way, that's making a difference. And my feet were a little sore from gotta take everything down in the morning or the day before, and then put everything back up at the end of the day. It's just a fucking pain in the ass. At least most of the stuff. Establish, a place. So my legs are a little tired. Like walking on grass or dirt, nice. Walking on concrete all day, asphalt, not nice. Just saying. You have leg problems because you're white. No kidding. But I'm sitting there and I'm looking at these cars and I'm like, I'm not jealous of your car. I just point it out because it seems for people that are saying we're starving, give us food. Your vehicle is like a 25 to 45,000, even $50,000 SUV or whatever, and you're starving. So even at the point where you're so-called starving or just scamming, you're basically you still got to keep up with the Joneses. You still have to have the status, the clothes, the this, the that. Like the people that are living on the system, they so want to be where the rich are. The middle class so want to be where the rich are. And I don't know, maybe I was watching this documentaries about the Gilded Age, and about how you had these god level titans that made so much of America. And yeah, the excesses of wealth are ridiculous. So they ended up doing not a sales tax, but an income tax. And what do you call it? Estate tax. And I personally do think that was a bunch of socialists trying to screw over rich people. I really do. But it was ironic that, you see the god builders that built so much of this country, the steel industry, the oil industry, the railroads that allowed us to connect the whole country together, which allowed us to advance. Like what took Europe and Asia thousands of years to evolve, we did it in record time. And yet the excesses of usually not the parents that actually worked their way out of poverty. And by the way, a lot of the old wealth like in New York and wherever, they despised the new wealth because the old wealth was well established. It's the establishment of our country, blah, blah, blah. And we've networked with these banks and the marriages of these people and these people, blah, blah, blah. Old wealth that couldn't do it fast and strong as the new wealth hates new wealth. And so the kids of the new wealth are like trying to spend their way to legitimacy, marry their way into like aristocracy, you know, the royals or wherever they're at, over in other countries, Europe. They're trying to buy that to the point where when the taxes came in, and they look up the stories of how the Gilded Age ended. When the taxes came in and they have these mansions that like take like, I think it was an insane amount of money for the time, but it's like how many, like 50 servants, all these maintenance people, all this crap. It literally collapsed under its own weight once taxation came in. And a lot of the kids said, fuck it, in order to survive, we got to minimize. We got to cut back. But still to this day, now you'll see this like out of poverty, like black culture, for instance, in America. Or even redneck culture. Once people win and once people get the money, like, okay, what was that guy, George Foreman or something like that? I can't remember which boxer it was. It could have been, it was boxers. Built this huge mansion, and I don't know if it ever got finished down in Georgia. And it ended up being something to where he ended up selling it off. People build these temples, these monuments to look at what I am. Just like the Gilded Age. And given a lot of people, the way they're said is, it's this constant peacocking, showing off to be like, look at me. Giant pile of shit. That's really what it is. My diamond encrusted, gold studded pile of shit. Well, that's quite the peanut turd you got there. Yeah, but look at it. It's so shiny. Gold-plated, diamond-encrusted turds. I think it's crazy. And that's what people give up their life for. More houses, bigger properties. And that's where I kind of look at the world sometimes and think this is all a fucking simulation. I think, you know, people talking about religion, and then I see all the monkey ass shit that the average person does. This like monkey mentality of like, we got to have more, mine. And then you get near the end and hopefully, I don't know, you're on the golf course all the time. Do you have to own the house on the golf course to go to the golf course? Oh, okay, maybe. I don't fucking know. I mean, can you play tennis without having to own the tennis court? It's insane to me. And I'm the aberrant. I'm the crazy one. Where I'm like, yeah, I'm getting by just fine. Like when I've talked about retirement by the age of 30, you know, just basically go out, get a good trade as young as possible, live as cheap as possible, and go out there and invest when you're young. People are like, oh, you can't do that. You can't. Why? Mathematically disprove me. You're wrong. It's like, no, you're just some poor person or a hardworking boomer Gen Xer that realizes what I'm saying makes sense. Like if you had bought gold at $300 an ounce, well, who had the money for it back then? If you weren't pissing away rent, money, and cars back in year 2000, now it's worth $4,200 something an ounce. $270. $4,200. Why don't you take a look at what $100,000 would net you now? Yeah, but people don't think. Yeah, right. They don't think that way. And why don't they think that way? Maybe because we're all programmed to stay on this plantation, stay in the casino. And the longer you stay in this casino, the more money the casino makes. So, I mean, yeah, your childhood is basically showing you this rock star lifestyle / get as much pussy as you can, you know, blah, blah, blah. And that pussy will get you stuck in a situation you'll be paying for X 18, 20 years. I'm not anti-children. I'm just anti-people being poor and having kids into poverty. And by the way, a lot of you suburban scumbags, you middle-class motherfuckers, you don't own those houses. You don't even own your cars. You have everything on credit. You're broke as fuck. You just look rich. just like the poor people with nice cars at the soup kitchens, the food banks. Well, they're not the soup kitchens, but at the food banks. They go to the food pantries and they got really nice vehicles. And you know why? Because they don't want to spend their own money. You get people getting damn near $1,000 in EBT driving luxury vehicles. And I'm going to say, if your car's brand new, but you can't afford food, that's a luxury. I don't care if it's a high brand, name brand, or whatever. I saw a guy with a Hellcat. Was it a Hellcat or a Charger? I don't know what the fuck it was. It was a Dodge something sexy. The tackiest level of like pins and things in the vehicle. And I'm just like, this guy's at a food bank. They'll still, even in poverty, try to peacock, try to be something they're not. As were me, I could do far more. I could work a handful of years and easily have another $500,000 invested. More money making me money. And yet I am nuts. I know I'm nuts. I'm happily living out here in the middle of nowhere. And I get up in the morning and I look at this beautiful view. And I think that is part of the reason they hate van lifers, because we're not on that treadmill. When we live out here peacefully, and the real problem that we have, it's not the land, it's not the animals, it's not even maintenance on the RV or the van. It's the people from society coming out and fucking with us. Like some HOA suburban Karen sees somebody living affordably and they just like, you can't have it. If I can't have that, you can't have it. And all that insanity altogether, sometimes I bring it back to this. I've said it before and this again. Is this entire world nothing more than a simulation? If you believe in religion, then yeah. I'm not a religious person myself, but if you think about it, the whole idea of the afterlife and all of that is basically telling you this is the simulation to get to the real life, which is the so-called afterlife. But this is just the testing phase to see which way you're going to go. Now, I don't believe in religion. I think it's kind of collective insanity. But I do look at it and I think to myself, when you see what people are chasing after and you see all the work and all the nonsense that people do, yeah, it really does strike you that, like, you see people running people over because they believe in this waggity woo, like trucks of peace, or people blowing each other up, or communism versus capitalism. And you're like, you really don't have to fight over this shit. Animal rights people that, like PETA people, wholesale kill, they get animals and they euthanize how many? We care about the animals, now we're euthanizing them. It's so fucking crazy. And I'm like, is this shit real? And then you think to yourself, if I think about something and then I see it happening, am I accidentally manipulating fate? And that's the real insanity right there. But you see it happen and you're like, maybe this all is this fucking simulation. I guess the best we can all do is just, hey man, live minimalistically, laid back, live a happy life. Try not to do any harm to people. And just enjoy it. Enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride while you're here. And I guess kind of some parting words before I go outside and start taking care of stuff. If you're happy with who you are, whether you want to be McMansion, middle class, or minimalist out in the wasteland, just be happy with yourself. Just do what you do and be happy. If you're one of those people that loves getting up and going to work and doing, it's not a job anymore, it's a craft, it's what you love doing, get up and do that. But God, if you're happy, just be happy on your own. Don't fucking go and try to smother out someone else's happiness because they're not living up to your expectations. Just be happy. And that, I don't know if people are capable of that. That's the thing that's kind of scary. Like, if we believe in this politics, you all got to believe in this politics. If we believe in this religion, you all got to believe in their religion. If we believe this should be the standard that everybody should have to live by, everybody should have to live by our standards. It's like if we're all suffering together on the plantation, then it's not slavery. And ain't nobody can escape. Because if a few people escape and they're out there being happy, then the rest of the slaves might pick up one day, look up and go, why are we doing this? For what? For who? Just like, God, we'll close it with this. In war, when one day someone who gets drafted says, fuck this, I'm walking, they have to shoot deserters. They have to point a gun at you to get you to shoot other people for the whims of a bunch of rich people that never sent their children to die in a war. They got to point a gun at you and tell it's patriotism for you to risk and die and kill some other guy you don't even know. It's patriotism. Got to save it from the other group of people. You know how many people just get behind it and go, fuck yeah, it's patriotism. Oh, I got to kill that other person because somebody else told me to kill him. And if you try to walk away as a sane person going, I have nothing to do with this. You forced me into this situation. And I'm trying to walk away and you're pointing a gun at me telling me you're going to kill me unless I start killing other people. I'm not insane. I'm the sanest person here. You're insane and you're forcing everybody else into your insanity. Think about that. Freedom Phil, like, subscribe, take it easy.